the voice of the Cayman Islands is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon
Talk
the
Today
seas.
is brought to you by Subway. Open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk Today.
What's on your mind, Cayman? If you're ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Discussing current events and local news, community spotlights, hot topics, listener stories, cultural and historical discussions, environmental issues, fun and lighthearted topics, guest interviews. Cayman, basically anything you want to talk about, we are ready to listen. Here's your guest host, Charles Glidden.
Coming up next, open line on Talk Today. Let's talk about what matters to you. So pick up the phone and tell us what's on your mind. Talk Today's next on Radio Cayman. Stay with me.
Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Thursday edition of Talk Today. And I'm Charles Glidden. Hope you're having a good day. Even if it's a little rough, well, keep your head up, okay? Like we used to say, keep on trucking. Keep your head up and move forward, right? Yeah. You'll make it. Thursday is sort of a, I guess you might say, a big day at my house, right? Because Thursday, that's a discount day for seniors at Hurley's. So going shopping is mandatory, and on a Thursday, can't miss that little break that you get there. For being a senior. I guess age does have its privileges. even though sometimes you say, boy, this. What's that saying? Old age is not for sissies. No, you better be tough. But it's whether you're a senior or you're a young person. Of course, it's important for all of us to pay attention to our health. Eat the right things, get some exercise. I've been trying to do that now. Get some exercise for about, over a year now. I even said, okay, January 2026, I'm going to start walking, try to be more active instead of just sitting in front of a microphone or sitting behind a desk. Get out there and get some movement, which is very important, especially, at this age. But people are so busy these days. If you're retired, that's one thing. But, gosh, I mean, if you're working, and you got a family, there seems to be like the treadmill is never going to stop. You got to just keep getting one thing after the other done. And of course, we're always connected these days, right? Somebody can always get a hold of you to say, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. So sometimes when we're, so busy living, keeping up with things, it's one of the things that we don't pay attention to or, and maintain is a healthy lifestyle. It's just we're just consumed by taking care of those little pieces of business that, if you don't do it, there'll be some consequence to pay, So I was thinking about, being busy and making sure we live healthy in the meantime. And trust me, people are busy in Cayman. I guess people like in the States and stuff say, "Oh, you live on an island. Oh, that must be nice, right?" It's like they think we're on a vacation 365 days a year. But we all know that's not the story, right? Most of my broadcasting career, I worked the first shift. Remember when I was first at Radio Cayman, be on my way here, 20 minutes to 6, quarter to 6. I'm the only car on the road. That was back in the day, right? You're out there, 5:45. Nobody else on the road but you, trying to get here, in time to turn on the station by 6 o'clock, right? These days, that's not the story. I mean, from my house, I can see the east-west arterial. And, by 6 o'clock, that highway is busy. I mean, people are on the road, before sunrise, especially this time of year, right? But yeah, people are getting to work. I guess some of them are just, beating the traffic, but I'm sure a lot of them just have to get going also. So the place opens up very, very early these days. Not everybody's, getting to work at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and going home is the same thing. You go home late, there's still a lot of traffic going, back home. So I was thinking about, what do you do when you're so busy and you still got to take care of yourself, right? You got to eat healthy, get some exercise. How do you do that? How do you work all that in? And so I went online, of course. the wealth of information, and so, this is WikiHow. WikiHow to do anything. Pretty informative website. It's, you get a lot of good tips there. So, staying healthy with busy schedules. Eating healthy. It suggests that, cook your meals ahead of time, instead of being tempted to get some fast food on the way home. Already have that meal waiting for you. Buy a slow cooker. And before you leave, put some food in that and make it slow cook during the day. And when you get home, you got a hot meal already waiting for you. Or you could cook a week's worth of meals, like on Sunday. So you just put it in the refrigerator and you come home, you heat it up. Not a big chore to get a healthy meal going rather than stopping and getting fast food or something. Pack lunches the night before. If you already have a healthy lunch with you right at the desk, you don't have to be tempted to go an unhealthy, again, fast food or just pick up something someplace. that's quick and easy. A sandwich with a lot of processed meat in it, or something like that. But this is just number 2, and I'm already seeing a trend here. You got to be organized to do this, right? But that's what busy people must do. They have to organize. And start the day with a healthy, full breakfast, something to put some fuel in the tank before you even start going. Take time to have a good breakfast. Bring snacks to work. Just nibble on something. Don't go for a bag of chips. That has a lot of stuff that you want to avoid. Avoid drinking or eating out too often. It says alcohol and restaurant food are both high in calories, low in nutrition content, and can make you tired and sluggish. If you still want to go out with friends, consider bringing a healthy snack along. Now that's a sort of a vibe killer, isn't it? Everybody else is eating, ordering food, and you pull out your snack. Yes, I brought an apple. Like, you brought an apple? Jeez. It's healthy, but it's kind of a vibe killer. I'm going to have an apple. And, instead of having a drink, a mixed drink, have seltzer water. Okay, that's definitely a vibe killer, but it's healthy. And find time to exercise, of course. Fit some time into your schedule to, get some movement going. Whether you got to get up early, set the alarm for, a half hour early and do a little workout, go walking or something. Like I've been trying to do that too. Haven't got to it yet though. That and the full breakfast before leaving home. I had a banana this morning. That was it. I don't know if that's enough to keep me until 3 o'clock after I do the show or what. And get regular sleep. And that's something a lot of people don't get enough of. It's a good night's sleep, And this is saying to wake up and go to bed on a regular schedule. A lot of people sleep in on the weekend, but I know, like I said, I worked the first shift, and I used to always hear this about when you have to get up like at 5 o'clock in the morning, don't sleep in on the weekends. The best thing to do is just keep that rhythm going over those 2 days so that your body has that regular rhythm that it sets for itself. And eat well, get good exercise, and try not to stress too much. Got to take a break here, but I'll be right back.
Hey, new drivers, don't just drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
Hey Cayman, this is DJ Lynn. Catch me live weekdays from 7 till 10 a.m. on the Morning Breeze, our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM. We're waking you up with the best adult contemporary hits with the 70s, 80s, 90s, and much more. So start your morning the Cayman way with me, DJ Lynn, on the Morning Breeze.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
That's what I want to know. What's on your mind? What's bugging you today? What are you happy about? You got some a compliment to make about someone? Or something, some situation, give me a call. The numbers are 1-800-534-8255. That's Compliments of Flow. You can also reach the show on 949-8037, 949-6990, and WhatsApp 925-3261. Give us a call, send us a message, contact us. And do we have a caller? Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I was listening to you talk about cooking and just preparing some food and put on the fridge. I just, that's how I do today, man. That's how I live today.
Yeah.
I do, because cooking is tiresome,
It can be a job.
Yeah.
Especially
man.
Especially if you always do it the healthy way, right?
Yeah. It's a lot of cookware today that is very fast and things like that, but I still use the stove, I wish I never had to use the stove. I wish I still had my caboose.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I see it, from the time you have your own house and you got some space outside and things like that. You can always put together a nice cook room, not poor like we once had, but you could always build a nice cook room outside, and you wouldn't want your caboose inside the house like how we used to have.
But I mean, you would use wood and everything?
Well, when I had my
charcoal
house in West Bay, I had my caboose outside.
Uh-huh.
And a tank of gas could last me a year. Because most of my cooking I was doing on that caboose, right?
What did you use to fuel the fire?
Well, where my house was situated there in Northwest Point, there's a lot of dry logwood around the place.
Uh-huh.
So I never had far to go for that.
So you actually had a wood fire?
Yeah, man. I never had far to go for that, I remember frying the barracuda and the fritters outside late in the afternoon. And that was really nice,
A friend in West Bay, he does that. He's outside, but he uses gas.
Yeah, but you gotta have your own yard and things like that to do those things.
Yep, Yeah.
Because I seen a woman a few days ago she have a nice house but she have her cook room outside as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to bake the cassava cake, but I believe I could do one right now because she was showing me the recipes and all those things. So I just collect it and keep it in the head,
So she uses gas or she used the real thing, wood?
She has a nice house and her nice kitchen and thing inside, but outside she used the wood, the logwood and all those things. I don't know where she gets that from, but it's wood fire she have outside,
I never thought of people still doing that.
Yeah, man. It's in patches now.
Yeah.
But
I guess it's special occasions that, like on a weekend or something, you go and cook outside.
Yeah, man. So it's she bakes cassava cake and sells and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice that somebody still carry on a little bit of culture here, because I believe enough people talk about the word culture, they talk about all the time. But sometimes I wonder if they really know what it is. You understand?
Okay, yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. But anyway, Chalo, when you mentioned about the alcohol just now, I don't really dwell on this past, but sometimes it comes back at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I let it go quick because, it's already done.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to remember it.
Yeah, that's
or let's put it this way, I don't want it to stick on me because I know what will happen. You understand? But, man, when I think of them Muslim countries that no alcohol circulates and drugs and things like that, I really got to give them people some kudos, man. How you would think, how can they live like that in a world of what we live in? And everybody or every nation, you would say alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, everything like that. It's being circulated, right? But how can you have a healthy nation of people when you have problems like that?
You mean the people of alcoholism that
right?
People are suffering?
Tobacco, narcotics, right? And you're still talking about a healthy nation of people. But how can you have a healthy nation of people and you have those problems?
Yeah, well, I mean, in our society, in the Western world, we believe that people have that choice, right?
Yep.
It's up to the individual. And I know some individuals, cross that line that, they're living on really unhealthy life when, they're having, six drinks a day or more. That cannot be healthy for you. But then many people enjoy a drink now and then, and it's not a problem. As I say, a glass of red wine has its some health benefits.
Yeah, man. But sometimes I even think about that, Chalo, that I could drink some wine again, but that voice is telling me you tried that before.
Well, yeah, I have some friends that have had the same problem that you had, and they say no.
Yeah.
You take that. If you take that one, there's going to be a second one,
but
a third one.
I wasn't that kind of drinker. I had to get drunk. And the same thing will happen to me again if I try to bring some red wine.
Well, that's what I mean. If you take the first drink, you're going to take another drink.
It's not too far away from me. Just a couple of footsteps. But I quickly close that out of my mind, man. I don't entertain those thoughts anymore.
I'm glad for you, man. I'm glad that you got that discipline.
One more thing I want to mention to you, Chalo, about the driving. I heard my good friend Arden McLean said one time, you could build as many roads as you want, but if behavior don't change, you really not saying nothing. You understand? But I was downtown the other day, standing right by the library and the bus stop there, and a car comes around the corner there. And this woman, she's looking at me. The car is driving slow, but I have on my darkers all the time. And I don't really need to turn my head to really see somebody. I can keep my head straight.
Yeah, you got good peripheral vision.
Yes, and from the corner of my eyes, I can see that person there a while, you understand, without turning my head.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the Georgetown Town Hall right there. My head is in that direction, but this car now is slowly passing me. And this woman is looking up my face and trying to see who I am, you know. And let me tell you, I could see her get halfway. Her body was out of the car window, and I tried to find out who I was, and I never turned my head. I never turned my head, so she never really get to see who it was, because like I say, when I was 13 years old, I've been wearing my darkers, and I'm under my darkers all the time. And this is the reason why I wear them, you understand? Because for me, I see things that I should see better. So without somebody seeing my eyes. So that's how I live, you know. But I heard an American man said one time, drivers all over the world, he said, they see everything besides the road more time when they're driving.
Yeah, they're paying attention to everything else. what they're supposed to be paying attention to. Yeah,
I don't want to sound like I'm putting down anybody today over the air. But let me tell you something, man. I see that problem more in black people than white people.
Yeah.
I'm not a racist, but this is true what I'm saying. I see black people driving out there. Let me tell you something, man. Their heads at times is going round like a radar. They got to see everything besides the road.
But you can't say that's all black people that do that.
I tell you,
you can't say that, because I mean I see many black drivers that, I mean, they're paying attention just as anybody else. But I don't think it's a racial trait.
I'm yet to see them though, because I don't see it in the white people as much as I see it in the black people.
Well, I don't know. I can't agree with that. You know.
Well, just saying something, just making a statement, you know. But I guess this is one of the reasons, man, that I don't really bought a car, you know, because I don't know who I was when I was driving and crashing a couple of cars in my teenage days and things. I don't really know who I was, man.
What do you mean that you don't know who you was? Make it quick.
I was always
my break
drunk.
time.
I was always drunk.
Oh, well, there you go. But yeah. You can't drive when you're drunk.
Look, I tell you, of all the accidents we have in Cayman, right? You know, we hear nothing about a car hanging up on a light pole. Well, one time we had a guy from Georgetown by the name of Steve Watler. This was Roddy Watler's son, right? And he was a chronic alcoholic, man. This is somebody who
you got to watch where you're naming people as alcoholics here. You know, we are over the air.
So anyway, he crashed and he hung the car up on the light pole. That don't happen too often. Yeah, but you don't hear about those kind of crashes today, man. And I hope you may never hear about them in Cayman Islands neither.
Yeah, well, I know we used to have some really bad ones because the roads were free of traffic, and guys could just, put the metal to the pedal to the metal, and see how fast that car could go. And there was a lot of that going on back then. But Robert, listen, I got to take a break.
Later.
All right, have a good day. I'll be right back.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Celebrating 50 years of broadcasting in the Cayman Islands.
50 years of music.
This is Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
50 years of life. We are the rhythm of the city.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and very often on this program, we talk about the cost of living. That's one of our favorite subjects here, and you might have seen a story in the Compass the other day about rising building costs increase Cayman's affordable housing challenge, because that's other than the cost of living. You know, housing is also a big subject that we've often discussed here. And as a matter of fact, the other day I was thinking about my grandchildren, like when they finish their education, going to college, come out, start, their working life. What's it going to be like for them in Cayman in, a few years to be able to establish themselves, get a house, get a condo, just to get a home? What is it going to be like for them to, get the foot on the first rung of the ladder in owning a home, whether it is a house, a single-family house, or a condo, because the cost of housing, whether it's a rental, but especially owning a home, is very, very, very expensive. It is a major challenge for young people. And this story in the Compass was pointing out that construction costs have risen 44% in the past 5 years. That's a big jump in 5 years, that puts an obstacle to home ownership that can be very hard to overcome. And the cost of home ownership now is even, I'm taking it that it has spurred a gentleman by the name of Kevin Drysdale, a chartered surveyor. He's actually developed an index to be able to track the increasing cost of building a home in Cayman. And he's developed the index using 15 years of data from the building control unit. But things just keep costing more as far as the material is concerned. And apparently, things really heated up after the pandemic, right? And some of that has eased off, but other things have kept up the pace of increasing. And when you're talking about, affordable housing, it's hard to bring in what would be affordable in the eyes of the average person, to bring in a home for that amount as far as building it, right? As a matter of fact, the Compass says Larry Thompson of A.L. Thompson's says, and of course A.L. Thompson is our largest building material supplier. We've had tariffs in the U.S. that has put pressure on the cost of material, and like I was saying, some things have eased off as far as the cost. He pointed out lumber and rebar has, as he put it, normalized from their pandemic peaks, but other materials have just stubbornly kept high. And of course, when you build something, it's on land. You got to put it on a piece of land, and land, of course, keeps going higher and higher. All across the Cayman Islands, any kind of land has spiked, and it's in demand. We have people from overseas buying up land. We have people locally buying up land. And all of that combined, the material and the cost of the land, of course, you put all that together, and what you've got is very expensive construction cost. And what Larry Thompson was telling the Compass was that he's seeing a major shift away from single-family residences to more apartments and condominium projects. And if you drive into certain places, you'll see that too. The number of apartment buildings that have shot up in West Bay is amazing over the last few years here, and that's because there is a demand for that. You got duplexes or actual apartment buildings. Kim Lund, who's a major realtor in Cayman, he agrees, saying higher construction and land costs are reshaping what would realistically be delivered at lower price points. It's almost as if there is no lower price point, or if you're going to bring it in at what is considered a lower price point, you got a little cubby hole, a very small apartment or very, very small home, one bedroom, that it's almost uncomfortable to live in, especially if you have a family, right? So those are challenges that are facing young people today, people who are trying to get into their first home. Just the cost of being able to build something at a reasonable price is keeping people from being able to realize that dream of having their own home. And my friend Clydas and I always discuss on here about, when government is building their affordable homes, that they really need to start looking at, multifamily structures. That's what the direction you need to go in, instead of trying to, build single-family homes that take up a lot more space. Instead of building out, build up. It's 1 o'clock, and that's news time, so let's check in with the newsroom.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Weston Primary snags its fourth satisfactory rating by school inspectors in a row. The Office of Education Standards is recommending the school continue to work to support emergent readers in reception, raise attainment in English and math, and increase the proportion of good and better teaching in math, English, and other subjects. You can find the full report online at oes.gov.ky. In international news, the U.S. House of Representatives has voted to rescind U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canadian goods. In a 219 to 211 vote, 6 Republican lawmakers joined Democrats to back a resolution that seeks to end the tariffs Trump imposed on Canada last year. The vote is largely symbolic, as it will still need to be approved by the U.S. Senate and then approved by Trump, who's very unlikely to sign it into law. Since his re-election, Donald Trump has imposed a series of tariffs on Canada, recently threatening a 100% import tax in response to Canada's proposed trade deal with China. And the Duke of Sussex has thanked bereaved families mounting a legal challenge against 2 of the world's biggest tech companies for, quote, telling your stories over and over again. Prince Harry made the remarks in an address to parents gathered after the start of a landmark trial in California that will examine whether Instagram and YouTube damage young people's mental health. The families are alleging that the online platforms are addictive by design. Lawyers for YouTube and Meta, which owns Instagram, reject the allegations. Prince Harry expressed hope for, quote, truth, justice, and accountability in footage shared exclusively with BBC. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
At HSA, we strive to provide the highest standard of care with compassion, integrity, and dedication. And so we say thank you, Cayman, for continuing to make us the most awarded organization on island by voting us the best of Cayman Islands in 9 medical categories. Your support reminds us why we do what we do, to serve the Cayman community with kindness and excellence. To find out more about our award-winning services, visit hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP. Following the 1932 hurricane, like most young men growing up in Cayman during the era, the call of the sea was heard more strongly than any other. Keith Tibbetts Sr. of Cayman Brac was no different. After assisting with the rebuilding of the family home, resurrecting the family car, and helping other relatives and the community rebuild, he built and sold several catboats before going to Jamaica to seek employment as a seaman. In 1936, he joined the Canadian banana boat Lady Somers and eventually found himself involved in the global war effort. Keith participated in the evacuation of Dunkirk in World War II. He served in the Merchant Marine from 1939 to 1940, and then as a seaman gunner on the Jamaica Pioneer. On D-Day Keith Tibbets was off the coast of France, manning an anti-aircraft gun. Following this, he joined the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, where he served until his ship was torpedoed and sunk by a German submarine. Following this, he took a job on a tanker, which was home-based in Trinidad for bunkering American convoys, carrying military personnel and supplies to the European allies, becoming chief engineer. Following the war efforts, Keith continued the shipping trade, moving into boat building with his brothers, joining the Trinidad Shipping Company and National Bulk Carriers. This was part 5 of a special Sister Islands vignette series dedicated to Captain Keith Parker Tibbets.
I'll be back. I've got 22 more days.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Big news from Cayman Airways. Non-stop flights to Austin, Texas are coming this summer. Tickets are now on sale from just $367 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Don't wait. Sale ends soon. Book your Texas summer getaway now at CaymanAirways.com.
Happy 50th anniversary, Radio Cayman. I remember as a kid listening to the children's program, the lady would ask, "Do you know what the sound is?" And as a kid, I would say out loud, "It's a trumpet." And in response, on Radio Cayman, the lady would say, "Of course, it's a trumpet." And I was so amazed that the radio could hear me. And this is one of the most favorite childhood memory that I have. Thank you for keeping us entertained, and we love you.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and taking a look at the weather here. Current temperature here in Georgetown, 80 degrees. Winds out of the east-northeast at 12.5 knots. Relative humidity 66%. And the forecast is calling for fair weather for the rest of the day and into tonight. And the winds should be out of the northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gust, and seas moderate with wave heights at 3 to 5 feet. And taking a look at the radar, looks pretty clear out there as far as rain. Just a few little blips there, and the middle part of the Grand Cayman and the Sister Islands, they're looking good too, with just a few little showers out to sea out there by Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. So, what's your thoughts on the cost of housing in Cayman, the cost of land, the cost of materials? All that adds up to being very expensive when it comes to building a home, and that home could be a house or a duplex, But as we were talking about, it is a major obstacle for when it comes to Caymanians getting that first home. And we were saying that part of the answer is lying in multifamily housing, such as apartments, as Kim Lund put it in this article here. Detached homes have become much harder to make work at the lower end. Once you factor in land, materials, and labor. And the only way to deliver more affordable housing now is through shared walls and shared roofs, apartments, condominiums, duplexes, he said. And that all makes sense, as we've discussed here, especially when Clytus calls and, gives his wisdom on the subject. But you can take an acre of land and, provide housing on it for many more people if it's not single-family homes that you're talking about. And prices have gone up in Cayman at such rates at certain times that, people, contractors who have gone into a contract, and before they can actually start doing anything, prices change so fast that they have to try and negotiate themselves either out of that contract, or if they go ahead and build it at the cost that they gave, they would end up losing because the material has increased so rapidly since they signed the contract to do a building, and it's no longer to build it. It's no longer feasible to build it at what was stated in the contract. We have someone on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Charlo. Peter Schmidt here.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm not doing badly, thank you. I hope you're doing well as well also.
Yeah. Hanging in there, my friend.
Okay, well, with regards to the housing, all I can say, I am very happy that my wife and I were able to satisfy our housing needs a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because it would be even if I were still working in the occupation that I had prior to retirement, I don't think I'd be able to afford a house, a sizable house, a family house these days. If I had to start, by buying land and the building cost, even worse if I need to hire a contractor, which now you mostly have to. I remember some of my colleagues way back when, in the early days at Cayman Airways, they were building a house along with their friends. They had friends that had certain skills that were applied to construction and the things that are associated with that, plumbing and electrical.
People help each other out.
They could help each other out. And, on weekends, they might get a case of red stripe or something and have a little project,
Yeah.
I had to do much the same when the current house that I'm in. I remember going to a bank that is still prominent today to apply for what we call a mortgage, which it really isn't. It's a demand loan. And I was willing to go ahead with it, and then they told me I had to go to their attorney to sign the paperwork. And I remembered inquiring what the cost of that paperwork was, and it said, well, it's 1% of your mortgage. and I said, for putting my name on a standard document,
yeah,
and that that you can just print off, and just filling in the numbers, the relevant numbers and dated, etc., I have to pay a fee that was the equivalent to all the blocks that I needed to build the house. But
I never understood that one either. Charge you 10% to sign an agreement.
No, it was 1%.
1%.
Yeah, the loan I was looking for to the belting at the time. The loan I was looking for was something like $155,000, and the price to the cost for the paperwork was $1,559, 1% of the loan amount, which I thought was outrageous, because at that time, even now I still remember when I made less than $1,000 a month, in the early days of living here. So I well knew the value of money, and that to me was just an outrageous amount. But that was then. It hasn't gotten any less expensive, and of course, land cannot make more land. I mean, we done well, pulled a lot of building land out of what previously would have been called wetlands, but that isn't cheap either. So the cost, and by the way, it's not a unique problem, the problem exists all over the world where unless you can really make big money, have a large income or inheritance or family or something like that, you are going to be hard pressed to make that start with the first house. And I have had many, well, about 9 or so uncles and aunts in Switzerland that were all at the very minimum they were solid middle class, and at least 4 of them that I can think of, they had never had a house. They lived in essentially a condo that they owned, or they had they had like a lifelong mortgage on that. Now the financing is a little bit different in Switzerland, where people rarely pay off the first mortgage. They just keep that going and keep paying the interest like they were paying rent. And I've naturally with age now I've lost most of those aunts and uncles. The children, at least one child, had the option of continuing the contract on that apartment, or else it would revert. And I'm not exactly sure what the financing along with that went, because when you bought an apartment, it was unfurnished, and except for the minimum, so most people had to take out what they call a second mortgage to actually furnish the place, and that mortgage was then over time paid off. It also came at a higher interest rate. So, and they lived, for as long as I knew them, they lived in that apartment. That was their address and their address for life, and they were perfectly happy with it. They had common gardens, and sometimes if there was a significant piece of land that kind of was attached to the building, then they would part off that each homeowner, for the want of a better word, or each occupant family had a private little plot where they could do flowers or vegetables or whatever they cared to do. So the problem, and now it is even much worse. If you think the prices for a house are high here, there is nothing that I know in Switzerland, in the circles that I know, that you can purchase for less than 1.2 million Swiss francs.
Oh, wow.
And because the same thing, it's the same problem. Switzerland is 70% mountains, and the arable land, unfortunately, it's being used for building. It has been used for building. They're running out. They're running out. They have the same infrastructure problems that we have because of geographic location of Switzerland, where it's being a transit point from northern Europe to the southern European parts with the tunnels through the Alps, etc. So they're running out of infrastructure for traffic, and along with that come the pollution problems, and then you have industry. So there is no cheap land available anywhere. Farmland is very expensive. It's sold by the square meter or square foot, if you want to call it, in our system here.
Mm-hmm.
Even farmland. It's no longer that you can buy 100 hectares or something because you like to have a farm. Those days are over. So it is not unique to Cayman.
Yeah, in that scenario, right, you never do fully own the condo.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. My wife and I have a house here in West Bay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen when we die? We're not going to be able to take it with us. So essentially we're borrowing it, and it'll stay behind when we're gone. Now,
but I mean, in Cayman, how our system works, you do, if you live long enough, you do pay off the mortgage.
Yes, you do. That is common practice here.
Right.
That's
but I mean, in Switzerland, you say they keep paying all their life, paying the interest, so they never really pay off that mortgage.
First mortgage. The first mortgage is rarely paid off.
Mm.
The second mortgage, which deals mostly with chattels, maybe a car or something like that, those attract a standard market rate interest rate, but and that has to be paid off, or you default, then you're in trouble. The first mortgage, obviously, you have to keep paying as well. The good part is that the interest that you pay on that first mortgage is tax deductible. So you get a little relief.
Yeah.
For to facilitate some degree of sense of ownership anyway. Even though even here, while you have a mortgage, you can say you don't own the house either. And now when they're talking about, think about it. If you are 25 years old when you go into a house and you have a 40-year mortgage, that's quite a long time too. You don't own the house.
You pay it off by 65 or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, listen, I got another caller waiting on me. But thanks for that insight. And yeah, I mean, sometimes we think that our burden is the heaviest, but it's not always a pretty picture in other parts of the world either.
Have a good day.
But yes, thanks for the call, and have a good afternoon. Let's take another call. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Good afternoon.
You touch on housing, and I kind of hear my voice repeating back to me.
You getting some feedback?
I got an echo there, but let me just try to make my point.
Okay.
Because it seems like we Caymanians are priced out of the market in housing. Because a normal Caymanian can't afford a $500,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have an issue with where the land is overvalued. I mean, I never heard that before. But we can't afford a place in our place. But we can have the real estate agents that you're speaking about can find people that can afford that.
Yeah, obviously,
so
because they're selling them.
We are going to have an increase of the people who can afford, and people like us who can't afford can have the issue with housing constantly in Cayman. So we can find homes for people that can afford a $500,000 house. But I can't afford it as a Caymanian.
When we throw this word around, affordable, a lot without any kind of definition. What would you call an affordable house?
Let's say 200,000.
Okay.
Probably even less than that. For a 3-bedroom home that a Caymanian can afford on a reasonable salary. You probably collateral, you put up a collateral and get something for 200,000.
Yeah.
Bro, if we're talking about $500,000 and going up now, we priced out of the market.
And $500,000 doesn't get you that much either. That's
well,
if you take a look in some of the listings, right? If you go onto like Sariba, you can go onto that website, their website, and look at houses for sale in Cayman, and you put in the filter of say 200,000 to 300,000. Okay, you are not going to find much. You might find a very, very small apartment or something, a very small condo. But you're not going to find much in that $200,000 to $300,000 range.
I know you have to take a break.
Yeah, but we got some time.
Can I hold?
No, I don't have to take a break right now.
Well, So I'm saying if we're being priced out the market, Chalo.
Yeah.
And so you can find more Caymanians being dispossessed of their the little that they have, the little land that they have, you know, versus somebody trying to encourage them to build on what they have. They're going to be encouraged to sell out more than finding the assets to build a high rise.
Yeah. Well, anybody, especially if you're a young person and you are lucky enough to actually own a piece of land, you'd be silly to sell it and then try to find something else to build on. If you own land outright without any kind of charge on it from a bank, you hold on to that piece of land and you build on that piece of land. I mean, to just for a young person to sell land now doesn't make sense. If you own it, man, keep that, and you use it as your asset.
This is where the discussion continues because a young person might want to further their education, and they might want to sell the property. Let me get back to you, Chalo.
Yeah, but if you could. Are you still there? Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like the example that you gave, you want to further your education. Hey, get
Most
a scholarship.
people do.
Apply for a scholarship. You know, there's a lot
so
of government scholarships.
That's the trickiness of this housing. Because let's forget about the student and want to sell their land. Let's say they wanted to develop their land.
Yeah.
If they have the half an acre or something, where will they get the withdrawal to then put in 300,000 to build the 2-bedroom house? Where will they get that?
Well, yeah, they would have to have income to go to the bank and say, I want to build a house on land that I own, and this is how much I need, you know, and go through all those hoops. Yeah, they would have to have some kind of income in order to get that loan. Definitely.
Okay. To my point, that's not the average Cayman. We just can't walk in the bank and say, give me 300,000 to build on my property. That's what we did.
Well, presumably, I mean, that when I say that you hold your land and build on it, presumably you have some kind of income coming in. Now, whether that income is enough to build and get a loan to build what you want, that's another question.
Okay. So this comes down
if you're going to go to the
who
bank,
has the
you got to have a
capacity.
job. If you go to the bank, you got to have a job.
It comes down to who has the capacity to do it. And that's what's up with this housing now. There's more people that have more, that can do more than Caymanians, Mr. Chalo. That's what housing is. And when you look at people and the homes that are being built, they have the capacity to. And I'm saying for my people, I want them to.
I'm not following you there.
I want my people to be able to afford homes, Chalo.
Yeah.
But that's not happening.
Well, obviously, that, you know, when we're talking about homes, like you're talking about the $500,000 home, okay? Yeah, that's out of reach of a lot of people. And that's what this story in the Compass that I was looking at was examining, you know, the things that are contributing to making a modest house so expensive. You got the cost of land, you got the cost of material, and of course the cost of labor. You know, and when you add those things up, just an ordinary 2-bedroom house costs a lot of money. Yeah.
Charlie, I'll call you back on this.
All right. Thanks for the call. You take care. Yeah. Getting that first home is definitely a challenge. And boy, if you're a young person and you're lucky enough to own a piece of land, you hold on to that as that is a real asset because land is becoming precious in Cayman. And you'd be amazed how much the price of land is climbing year by year. It's 1:30. 1:30 here. So I've got to take a break. Be right back.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Hey, new drivers, don't just drive, drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
Heading to the Agriculture Show this Ash Wednesday? Well, then come prepared for a full day of entertainment. There's an official opening ceremony with horse parade, the return of the horse show, pony rides, a petting zoo, and even mechanical bull rides. The Kids Zone is packed with fun, plus live performances throughout the day from Regeneration Band, Impulse, Coco Raid, Backbeat, and more. It's non-stop action from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. in Lower Valley.
This February, experience the rhythm, passion, and power of live performance at the Cayman Arts Festival, February 5th to the 14th at the Harkwell Theatre. From electrifying sounds of the Jazz Entrance Big Band to the inspiring brilliance of the Youth Camerata with international guest artists, the festival celebrates music across generations. Feel the energy as Cayman's Future Phobia teams up with the Netherlands' all-female rock band, The Royals. Be moved by the soulful artistry of Jaden Hanna and end the festival with the fiery intensity of Miguel Vargas Flamenco Dance Theatre. 5 unforgettable nights, 1 extraordinary festival, February 5th to the 14th. Tickets available now. Visit CaymanArtsFestival.com or call 922-5550.
Celebrating 50 years of broadcasting in the Cayman Islands. This is Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back. Well, yeah, you heard that ad there for the Cayman Arts Festival. I'm going to go to the concert tonight with Jaden Hanna. Yeah, I'm going to check that out with my daughter. We have someone on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Charlo.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. You good?
Not bad. Not too bad. Well, my father told me I was good. Especially when I used to work with him on the construction site, and he said to me, "Now you know what you're doing. You know, with the masonry."
Yeah.
And as a Caymanian, my father was he was a mason, and I did a bit of work with some carpenters because I wanted to learn some of these things for good reason. And to be quite honest, you can do so much of your own work. I mean, so much on your own house. You can put up your blocks. You can plaster your walls, or
you got to have those skills, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You just can't decide one day I'm going to lay some blocks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it was quite a few of us Caymanians, quite a few of us Caymanian children now that decided we want to learn these things. I worked with some very good carpenters, some very good masons, and I said, boy, you imagine that. And I watched my father build a couple houses. You know, he built a lot of houses all around Cayman, and he built a couple for himself, for us children. And I said, you know something, this is a very valuable skill, you know. And I want to learn as much of this as I can. So that's what I'm suggesting now. Now, he never got a loan. It wasn't anything about any loans from the bank, even though I can't expect to fight against the bank. But there's some words that you got to share with your people sometimes. You know, there are ways that you can go around it. You know, you can go around this thing and have your ownership if you so desire, if you want to own your house, or different ways. I watch a lot of people build here in Cayman and made themselves very, very wealthy. But that's what I would suggest. Same thing like what the programs that Mr. Miles is having and Mr. Ha will try to teach people to get skills. It's very valuable skills. You can save yourself plenty of money.
Did you hear Mr. Schmidt when he was on and talking about how people used to help each other years ago? You know,
that's what we used to do. That's what
one person knew how to lay blocks, another one knew some plumbing. You know, and they help each other out.
Right. I help you with your roof, and you help me with the masonry if I don't know about it, and then you help the other help with the plumbing and the electrical and all that.
Yeah.
And then when you neither person has any big bills. You know, it just all went into skill. So that was what I observed back in the day, years back too. And it's so many different ways, you know. You get somebody, you get some advice from the right person, and when you know you be in very good shape, to be quite honest. You take a fool's advice, you'd be in very, very good shape, to be quite honest. And you got some very considerate people, you know. People just give you a good deal and say, well, I want to help you. I can help you to go into your place, and I can give you a good price, you know. A lot of very skillful, hard-working people. So that's what I learned. You just need to know your way around. That's like the people coming here that came on and saying, "Oh, the restaurants are so expensive," but maybe you're going to the wrong place.
All right. Well, thanks for the call.
Okay, sir.
All right. You take care.
All right. Okay.
Have a WhatsApp message here. This person's message is, hearing your conversation 1 or possibly 2 years ago, the average 3-bedroom bungalow cost $350,000. I'm referring to the Frank Hall type development, which is generally considered average level. Yeah, I believe that 1 or 2 years ago, $350,000 could move you into to a 3-bedroom, but I doubt that's the case today. You know, just as one of the callers was talking about a $500,000 home. Yeah, that could, if it's in the right place, you know, that same $350K house might now be more like $500,000, and it's just amazing how the cost of a house increases over the last few years here, and looking back at this story here, they talked to a number of people. One of them was Ben, and I think his last name is pronounced Tong, Ben Tong, the developer of the downtown Reach apartments. That's the ones on Linford Pearson there, that big complex. And they said that's one of the more affordable residential projects to be built in Grand Cayman in the past decade. And he said that it had become significantly harder to deliver housing at an affordable price point over the past 5 years. And he says construction inflation has been a major driver of this. Material costs, labor shortages, higher financing costs, and longer build times all compound one another. And those pressures ultimately feed directly into sale price. Even where developers are working as efficiently as possible, the economics have shifted materially. He said the margin for delivering lower-priced homes has narrowed considerably, and another thing that was pointed out in this story, the banks are tightening up on making loans for construction of homes or apartments at the lower end. They're more interested in luxury type projects, and so it's not as easy to get financing for what would be considered a home or even a condo that is affordable, that as we would always say. And of course, most projects, are seeking some kind of financing, whether it's a partial or, trying to get the full thing. So if that's how the banks are looking at things, that puts yet another obstacle to the actual building of affordable housing. Because if you can't get the financing behind it, many times, unless the person is very wealthy, that would mean that the project is not going to even go ahead, because it takes money to build. And unless you got deep pockets, you're going to have to be turning to the bank. So, again, there are multiple factors combining that makes a house that the average person, house or condo, duplex, makes that even harder for the average person to find a price that they can afford. And as Peter Schmidt pointed out, we're not the only people facing expensive housing. It's and even in places like the U.S., you'll find people having problem finding a house that they can afford. Of course, the thing is, if you go online and you go to one of these realtors, American realtors, and you see what you can get for a certain price, you say, wow, look at this. Look at what you can get for $300,000 in Florida or in Texas, Georgia, and compare that to what you're going to get for $300,000 in Cayman. Well, yeah. the economics, is even that house that when you look at it and you say, well, that's $300,000. Look at what I can get compared to Cayman. Somebody over there might be saying, gee, that's still out of my reach, because of the different tiers, the different levels that you have in an economy. It's 15 minutes going up to 2 o'clock. Time for us to take a break. Be right back.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer. This Ash Wednesday, February 18th, celebrate harvesting harmony at the 57th Annual Cayman Islands Agriculture Show from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Food, farming, culture, and community come together at the grounds in Lower Valley. Hosted by the Cayman Islands Agricultural Society and the Ministry of Agriculture. This one-day extravaganza is packed with Caymanian pride, family fun, and great prizes to be won. Don't miss it. Follow Cayman Agriculture on Facebook and Instagram for all of the details.
Sponsored by the Department of Agriculture, Pepsi, Quality Feed, Ale Thompson's, Terra Vegetation and Maintenance, and Radio Cayman.
Celebrating 50 years of broadcasting in the Cayman Islands. This is Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and we've been talking about the cost of housing in Cayman. If you have some thoughts on that, give me a call, 1-800-534-8255. That's courtesy of Flo. Other numbers that you can reach me on, 949-8037, 949-6990, and WhatsApp 925-3261. You can drop us a message, give us a call. I'd like to know your thoughts on, the very expensive cost of housing in the Cayman Islands, and how are people coping with this? What are the ways that people are looking to acquire that first home, whether that first home is a duplex, and as we've heard in people saying in this story here, the alternative now is shared walls, shared roof, a duplex, a condo. That is the most affordable means of people moving into a home that they can say, this is mine. And I know people have always preferred, to have that single family home. That's the dream that people have. But that doesn't seem to be an attainable dream for a lot of people to have that, single-family home, detached home, as they also call it. Unless it's a very small house. So the alternative is really to look to moving moving into a duplex or a condo. We have someone on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the Air with Talk today.
Dominic here. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Dominic. I'm doing fine. How about you?
As I always say, Charlie, ain't it better? I couldn't stand it. Just give us a minute or two of my time while I'm on my lunch break, about
give us a little bit more than that.
Well, I hope you can hear me clear.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
That's good. So the thing with a housing would put in buildings, like especially, residents right onto each other, like an apartment complex where there's one roof and all that kind. It becomes issues later down the line, right? And we know this already. When you have that one wall, not one roof connected them, or you have the ones that, where the yards are like they did in the first phase in West Bay down the Captain Joe and Osborne side, where you stick your hand out your window and you can actually touch your next neighbor's hand.
Yeah.
Right? So the government had to revert back to that 20-foot, 10 feet between each yard. Now, 5 feet is a little close, like I said, because my arm and your arm is about 2.5 feet long. We can touch each other if we stick our hand out, right? So, that 20-foot margin between houses is a good gap, right? Now, I would say that some of the houses that government has, carved up, they were a little bit too big in a way. They probably taught a more family orientation where kids could play around the back. And, of course, if you have an apartment, you have to go to a park. So it didn't make sense to give people so much yard space, I think, in some of these latest phases that we did in West Bay, like 19 in West Bay, 42 in North Side. And
these are the houses that the government built you're talking about, right?
Right, because that's what we're talking about at the moment. Because when you went into the city, because developers, they don't mind selling apartments. The individual's problem after that about who pays strata and all that kind of stuff and who maintains and what kind of neighborhood. But in the government side, they learned from experience. They learned that, they knew they had the issues like the apartments that when there's one strata to pay, a lot of people couldn't afford it. Government had to get involved, very expensive. Then they went into the style, like I said, they built the houses very close together with a slight little yard to them, but it was still, we went back into, not giving individuals that entire grass piece because, back in the day when somebody built a house, they had big yards because it was so expensive to subdivide up these chunks of land that Caymanians had.
Yeah.
Where nowadays, you can get it subdivided, carved out, and how you want. But again, I don't think it's a good idea. I know that Minister Brian there, I think he had mentioned that was, a good idea for people to live in one of those places to find out the inconveniences of it, But the whole point of it, my view on it, is that, government needs to keep those houses separated. Where they just keep that 10, they don't even make the yards big, but, they'll find more land. Government has purchased a lot of land over the last couple of years, I think, where they could use. They have other land, still buy it up. We still have money instead of giving this money to these other islands. Let's take that money and buy up all the land we can possibly get right now at a good price. And then later on, Caymania can look forward to, one of those proper homes from government. But more going into the private sector, a lot of it boils down to greed when you get on that side about the affordability, because when you pay rent out there in some places, a little open bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, $1,300 a month, which used to be somebody's bedroom that now has a bathroom and a kitchen in it, that used to rent $400, $500 at the max, including the light bill. All of a sudden, when these new developers built new places, for example, one bedroom, they decided they want $1,000 for no more than $1,500, $1,800 a month interest on up cost of building. The old structures, right? They decided to up their rent too. They didn't owe the bank any more money, they already got paid off. This is all about profit. So you have these, they can take their old buildings and rent them for the same thing as a new building, right? And it causes our housing market to sort of fall off. I mean, I can't tell a man the value of his place. That's whatever he wants. Throw him where you won't pay. But again,
well, the market kind of determines that too.
Well, you made the market. Take, for instance, there was a house out on Boggy Sands being sold. Houses were going at the time for, I think they were about $3 million. I think they had max that. One owner and I know that person, not really say personal, but I've spoken to them and I know them. They bought one of the houses down there, say for $3 million. They paid like 13, and you know what that caused around the whole area? The price on everything else to go up because the next guy wanted the same thing. The real estate agent decided, well, if we can get our one sold for 13, these ones must be able to go for 8, 5, 10, whatever numbers they want to throw on it.
Yeah,
right?
and even when you get an official, a quantity surveyor to go in and value something, they're valuing it because they say, oh, well, you're next door or you're on the same street as this place here that just sold for $3 million. So that makes your property go up,
Yes, and that's where there's really not a value, and the only value is that sort of. Let me see.
Somebody's willing to pay it.
That metaphorical, that sort of metaphorical value that you got in your head, somebody's going to pay it. Yes, right. And that's what's causing a lot of this problem. So they're individuals, whether they're local or developers, right? Because I know some local people who have met quickly and bought up a whole grass piece, split it into 10 parcels, and each parcel costs more than the whole grass piece has cost. Right, and I understand that when you put in a road and a water structure and electrical lines, it is very expensive. So you got to increase the price on those parcels to get your money. At the end of the day, a lot of it boils down to greed, right? And I can understand if you just went and borrowed a loan for $1 million and you bought a triplex or whatever, and you need to rent it for a certain amount of money just to pay the expenses of the mortgage and put aside a little bit for maintenance and all those kinds of things, right? Because, the average man who pays his loans and pays his bills, he really got nothing left for maintenance, and you see houses deteriorating and so forth like that. And that's one of the big problems as well. But again, like I said, a lot of it boils down to greed. Government can do what I know they will. I know Premier Henri Banks, so this is a man that thinks about Cayman. So I'm quite sure he's going to go out there along with Mr. Banks from Northside and all the team to try to get as much property as they can right now, because this time next year when we talk again, Charlo, the same house that you're living in now is going to value a lot more than it is today, more than likely. Or
I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah, a natural disaster can change all of it too. We saw that during Ivan, right? Developers wait for that thing. When they, not to call so many names, but for example, using the Ritz-Carlton, when that was being built, it was only on one side where the old Holiday Inn was. When Ivan came in and tore down all the mangroves, because we were out there protesting for him not to tear them down, when Ivan tore down the mangroves and we were all locked up trying to restructure our lives, they were able to import heavy equipment, tear up the mangrove roots, fill it up with marl, and then by the back door senses, the Ritz-Carlton even had condos on the next side of the road, right? So, if people that will remember these things, because half of them wasn't even born during that time, nobody paid attention. People only live for the moment. That's really how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, memories are short.
Yeah, but they don't leave like people do. So one thing, if you can hold on to them to some extent, they'll teach you that lesson for your next step forward. But like I said, government needs to look at that lesson that we just spoke about, not going back. The previous minister, I think it was Mr. Frank Mikefield, I think it was at the time, who had the house, and his idea was to put everything close together and try to get as much as you can. But as we see, the structures that were used for it, like the buildings weren't made out of proper stuff. I can tell anybody right now, all of these government houses that have been built in the last 15 years, there's no house out there on the private sector market that has the same quality of construction as those houses. Okay?
They're concrete block. They're concrete block, right?
Oh, and not 6-inch and 8-inch blocks on the new ones. So think about that. And these foundations and the amount of money that government has pumped into these places, you can go out on the private market and you will see that the value and the work that went into these places outmatch any part of the private sector. People might complain about the microwave and the fridge and all those things, and I would say the government, they could have done a better job instead of putting in all electrical stoves and all the electrical this and that. They could have went perhaps with propane stoves and stuff, because it wasn't like they were building wooden houses, because you got the people who live in there now complaining of their light and water bill exceeding their financial abilities. So that was a big issue. So I hope the next phase of houses that government focuses on, that they try to at least apply some solar panel power to the smaller appliances, but for the stove and the dryer and those things, try to use propane or something else that is on the lower side of the utility. But Charlo, I could hold you up. I know other people have something to say, but and I got my lunch to get.
Well, enjoy your lunch.
Yeah, it's always good talking to you.
All right, thanks for the call.
Okay, my team, have a wonderful day. Thanks.
Good to hear from you. Yeah, a lot of different aspects to this whole thing. It's very interesting to hear different perspectives, people's different experience in dealing with housing in Cayman. It's 2 o'clock. Let's see what's making headlines.
A million. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
Cayman Art Week returns for its 6th year from May 26th through the 31st, bringing exhibitions and special events to galleries, studios, and pop-up spaces across all 3 islands. Organizers say venues interested in joining the 2026 program, including the popular guided bus tours, should contact the CAW, that's the Cayman Art Week team, to register. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, the U.S. immigration enforcement surge in Minnesota is coming to an end. U.S. President Donald Trump's border chief, Tom Homan, says the operation, known as Metro Surge, led to the detention of several undocumented immigrants accused of violent crimes. But the initiative also drew national outrage after 2 U.S. citizens were killed by immigration officers. State and federal officials later faced questions about the crackdown during a Capitol Hill hearing. And police in British Columbia say the teenager behind Tuesday's mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge had multiple prior interactions with authorities over mental health concerns. The 18-year-old suspect, found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, killed 8 people, including 6 children. He had previously been assessed under the Mental Health Act and once held a firearms license. Prime Minister Mark Carney is expected to visit the community in the coming days. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and our weather update, 80 degrees here in Georgetown, winds out of the east-northeast at about 12.5 knots, relative humidity 66%, and our forecast is calling for fair weather, and that continues through the night with northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots, and also they might gust even higher than that. Seas moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet, and things looking good on the radar as far as any rain around us. Looking at Grand Cayman, yeah, a couple of little spots in the mid-island, but very small, so nothing to worry about. Sister Islands, looking clear over that way also. And we've been talking mostly about, the cost of housing and the reasons behind that, the cost of materials that have gone up, cost of labor, cost of financing also, and even getting financing for housing that is on the lower end of the scale, with from what I was reading there, banks favoring the luxury end as far as them providing financing. So a lot of challenges for people looking for a house that the average person can afford. It's a story that we hear again and again. And so going back to that story there, that was in the Compass, if you heard the first part of it, that there's no index for Cayman as far as the cost of housing, and the outlook for the next 2 years, more increases. Wouldn't you know it? The story ends with says Drysdale. That's the quantity surveyor that developed this index. He estimates annual increases of around 5 to 6% over the next 2 years. So construction inflation, that's going to be with us for a while. It seems do things ever come down? I guess certain economic conditions might cause things to become cheaper. But boy, I tell you, here in Cayman, things go up, but it doesn't seem like the cost of things come down. They may the rate at which they're going up will slow down. They won't, cost as much year on year as what they were, but you don't see a drop in prices. I heard someone say one time, he says, talking about the price of land, and he said, "Have you ever heard about land in Cayman going down?" No. And the demand for land in Cayman, that plays a big part in the cost of a property itself. Not even talking about the construction cost, but the land that you're going to pay, that you're going to use to build on. If you got to buy it, that's a big price. As a matter of fact, in thinking about this, I remember being with a group of guys, and the subject of what it costs to get started as a young person in Cayman, and the cost of land, of housing, what it takes to go out and buy a house. And this one guy, and he's somebody who keeps, as part of his profession, keeps his ear to the ground as far as what future development is going to be like in Cayman. And he's done pretty well for himself. He was saying that his daughter, finishes school and comes back home, settles into a job, a good job, and starts, thinking about having a home, buying a home. And even with his help, it was challenging. And he was saying that the people with the money, the people who come in and buy up big swaths of land, they see Cayman as a future Hong Kong of the Caribbean. If you ever saw pictures of Hong Kong, how you got this small space and you got a lot of people, you got a lot of buildings, things are tight, land is a premium, and they see Cayman in the future as a Hong Kong of the Caribbean, with our financial industry, the tourism. So they're buying up land. People overseas will sometimes buy land on scene. They don't even know exactly where it is. It's in Grand Cayman, and they buy it. And that drives the price up. They're willing to pay the big bucks because their pockets are deep, and they put the cash down. And that drives the price up. And what this guy was saying was, even with his help, his daughter was having problem, finding something that she considered affordable and how much she wanted to spend. But what he was saying was, if you can't buy a house, you can't buy a condo, try and buy a piece of land. At least get a piece of land in your name. Even if you're renting, but try and get some land. Land is going to be precious. We have a caller on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Glidden. Good afternoon to everybody.
Yes, how are you doing, man?
Yes, sir. It's making it. Just want to let the people of Cayman Brac know the long-awaited tug and barge is off the west end now, headed toward the creek dock. Going into 3 weeks, we never had anything called here. So
supplies are
what we talked about
some
days ago. But it's still choppy on the north side. The weather's not calm. I mean, it's still a light chop.
Mm-hmm. So they're going to be able to unload that later on today?
Hoping so, yes. When they get up there and assess the situation, hoping so that they should be up there about the next 30 to 45 minutes to be up to the creek. And then they got to, of course, towing the barge behind, you got to disconnect, pull the rope up, retrieve the rope, and then hit the barge on the side of the tug and then bring it in. And then it's quite windy from the northeast still, so it'll be a difficult time maneuvering getting alongside. So we've got to wait and see what happens. And I want to pass my public condolences to the loss of a great sea captain that passed away yesterday evening, Mr. Henley Scott from West End Cayman Brac, which is a cousin of mine. And Mr. Henley had quite an interesting career. He worked for Alfred Dantzler. I mean, Dantzler was a multimillionaire that had research ships around the coast of Africa doing oil research. And Mr. Henley was the captain of one, and they had the research ship named the Sea Brac. And I remember when I was a young boy, it stopped in here from Pascagoula in Mississippi off the Buccaneering anchorage out there, Scott's anchorage, and they were on their way to West Africa then, stopping Trinidad. And Mr. Henley was the captain and had several other Caymanian seamen. He was captain of the Hollis Hedberg, which was another research vessel for Mr. Danzler. He was one of the first Americans that came to Cayman Brac and built the house on the south side. So Mr. Henley was one of the last remaining captains from the western part of the island in this age group, 92 years and 8 months. That was his age. And we're losing all of our seafarers. I mean, that's such a... Cayman Brac has, I sort of, quite an interesting story you're going to hear me talk about, but we have one of the most major problems in the Caribbean of a small island with a small population of indigenous Cayman Brackers, and we have lots of elderly people, and we're losing them so fast.
Yeah, that's the story, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. We have another Bern Scott from Spot Bay also passed away, and he's another seaman that went all over the world on ships like Mr. Henley. So we have 2 seamen here on the Brac that have died within the last 2 weeks. And, you know, Grand Cayman, it's an ongoing thing. It's very sad what's happening among us anyway. So that's what I wanted to get out there, let the people know that the empty shops should be stocked back, I guess, by tomorrow evening or tomorrow. Depending on the weather, though, it's still windy. And that's not a ship, so it's a tug towing a barge, and you got to, like I said, disconnect and reconnect, and if it's not good enough, they won't come alongside. So we got to wait and see what happens there.
So what you said, it's been 3 weeks that the barge hadn't come?
Yes, going into 3 weeks now, yes, correct. They normally come on a Thursday every week, weather permitting, unless they have a breakdown or something.
Yeah.
But it's going into 3 weeks that we never had a shipment.
So, I mean, the supplies were really low? You ran out of things?
Oh, yes. Fruits and vegetables, that is right. Fruits and vegetables and other perishables, fresh milk, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The island depend on that service every week of the tug and barge. And then these times of the year when you got bad weather on the north side, the dock is inoperable, out of commission, cannot be used, and then it's too rough for the tug and barge to come across.
Yeah.
Even if they get loaded in Grand Cayman, they can't come across until the weather is the sea is at a certain height, because that's a long cable between the tug and barge, and if that happens to part or break during tow, to get back alongside that barge and retrieve that barge is a very frightening situation that would be, and will they accomplish it? So they can't come in extremely rough weather. They got to take precautions, because a ship is just a ship, one hull that you're dealing with, but when you got a tug towing a barge, you got the dependence on the cable holding the barge behind the tug. So that's how that go.
Yeah, I can imagine that separates in rough seas. The barge go anywhere. Well, Raymond, thank you so much for the update.
Yes, sir.
You have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All the best.
We're going to take a break. Be right back.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
If you have an objection to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your...
Don't do it, Tevin! I still love you. I have since the day we stole your mom's car and got matching dolphin tattoos.
Oh, Lordy.
Janelle? From Spring Break 08?
Yes, it's me.
Janelle, you've got to move on.
We're like the wedding guest that doesn't ruin the ceremony. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Big news News from Cayman Airways. Non-stop flights to Austin, Texas are coming this summer. Tickets are now in sale from just $367 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Don't wait. Sale ends soon. Book your Texas summer getaway now at CaymanAirways.com.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back. We got about 10 minutes to go in the show, so if you want to make a point, give us a call. Let us know what's on your mind. What do you think about the cost of housing in Cayman? We've been talking about how expensive it is, and I'd asked, does anything ever go down? One of our listeners WhatsApp a message saying, only eggs go down. Yeah, eggs have gotten ridiculously high too, right? You couldn't even afford a fried egg. I guess that's stabilized. The hens are once again producing enough to meet demand, I guess. But I remember, they were using the price of eggs as, like some kind of measure, as a measure for inflation. And even an egg is expensive now. But we certainly have our challenges here, and I guess as one of our callers, Peter, was pointing out, housing challenges is not unique to Cayman as far as the cost and the middle class, that good old middle class, the backbone of every society, every economy, always bears the brunt of everything, right? You're making too much money to get help, and not enough to keep up with the cost of living. But in many places, that's the situation with the middle class. It all depends on the scale of things, the ratio of what the cost of a house is, and what kind of revenue you are making. Lots of times you'll see a place where the costs are high, but so are the salaries. There's a correlation there, and then other places there's kind of wacky where the costs are high, but people aren't making the money to keep up with the cost of living. And I'm sure there's many people listening to this that say, well, yeah, that's my situation. Keeping up with cost is nearly impossible. And when you've got an economy that is running as hot as Cayman's economy is running hot, that's often what happens. Because of all the demand that we've had, and just think of since the pandemic how things have just boomed here. We have a caller on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
What's going on, Carlo?
Yes, how are you doing? Hello?
Are you okay?
Yeah, man, I'm okay. How about you?
Yeah, I'm all right, too. Just listening to the general comments in your show. But a reality check is that, what to do. There's a lot of confusion in this little island. Lots of everything into this island beside due consideration of where we are and where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Take, for example, downtown. A few days ago, I went into a jewelry store. I said, "Do you have a restaurant?" The lady said, "Oh, you just go around the corner is the Burger King." I said, "Wow." Okay, goes down to Burger King, goes inside, and both bathrooms are occupied. Okay? Then I had to go back down to the Port Authority.
Right down to the dock there?
Yeah. I was okay, but I'm thinking about, elderly people that come off the cruise ships and so on. Some of them sit out on the benches and so on.
Mm-hmm.
What if they need to get, to the bathroom or something like that? It's no way.
Yeah.
It's no way that it's not a good thing that's happening in this island with all of the prestige that we try to impress people. But there's a lot of serious things that should be addressed.
Yeah, it would have been a good thing if the part of the development, the redevelopment in the middle of Georgetown included some kind of public restrooms.
Well, it's high time. If the redevelopment, it should have been like yesterday. I was thinking about Colombia, South America or Central America. Say what you like, but they have their facilities in place. I mean, there's no end of facilities, public facilities for people to use.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. I mean, it's so disgusting. Look at your population. We have a lot of underprivileged people in this island that are not Caymanians. What's going to happen? They're talking about 100,000 or 150,000, whatever. What these people are going to do here? They don't have a job. They don't have a proper education and not too much ambition. Okay? So we're letting a lot of these people in here just to take advantage, and some Caymanians that are really struggle to make ends meet, they're pushed by the wayside while people come from other areas, other jurisdictions, and get the benefits that Caymanians should be getting.
Well, I mean, if they're here on a work permit, they're supposed to be working. And to come and stay for an extended time, you got to be on a work permit unless you have a means of support.
No, that's only a formality about work permit. I don't know how much people in this island that do not have a work permit. They hear how they get here. It must be through immigration. The only thing I think.
Well, we hear about work permits being taken out, and there's no work either. You know, a permit is taken out, but there really is no work for this person.
But that's an old story. It's so true. That's what they're doing, and things like this should be really looked into.
Supposedly they're tightening up on that. I don't know.
I guess they are. I guess they are tightening up. I don't know, my friend. There's so much money into this place that, that's what's causing the confusion. You see a lot of this with people in construction and so on. That's the front page. But you turn that page over, you see something else. People that they're not eating proper food. Mm-hmm. They're survivors. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those people are sleeping on the beach or something else. Anyway, my friend, look like you don't have a lot to say, so I'll say have yourself a good afternoon too. All right?
Well, thanks for the call, and once again, you have the last word.
Hey, next time I want to hear you got Charlo. I want to hear the other guy, Carlo.
You take care. Have a good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Okay. Yes, we're down to the end of the line here, and yeah, it would have been nice if they had included some public restrooms downtown, because you get 3-4 cruise ships in. People are walking around town. They're no longer close, to the docks where there are some restrooms down there, but they're now out into the middle of town, and you gotta go. When you gotta go, you gotta go. So hopefully we might see that in the near future, to have a downtown that takes care of that aspect of life. It is 2:30. That means my time is up. Thank you for listening, making me a part of your afternoon. Thanks to all those who called. I'm Charles Glidden. One love.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio